Anime adventure tomorrow at 20 to 5 as the forest gods and mortals clash, continuing our Studio Ghibli season, Princess Mononoke. And coming next today, another offering from the great Hayao Miyazaki as a goldfish princess longs to become human in Ponyo. Well, tomorrow evening at 7:20, Throwing the Bouquet with Force. Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway star in Bride Wars. At 9, a time capsule leaves Nicolas Cage with some shocking predictions. Knowing. Then at 11:20, chilling goings on when a man returns from the brink of death with a new ability. White Noise 2. Now in Film4, a young boy makes friends with a fish who happens to be the daughter of a powerful sea goddess. Hoping to become human, fish and boy unleash an imbalance of nature. We begin our Studio Ghibli season from the mind of Hayao Miyazaki. It's the premiere of Ponyo. Well, tomorrow evening it's fights in white satin as Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway discover there are no lengths a bridezilla will stoop to. Bride Wars. Next tonight, Hugh Jackman stars as the vengeful Wolverine in X-Men Origins. Tomorrow at 20 to 2, a dangerous mission is led by Errol Flynn, but it's getting home that proves really tricky. Objective Burma. Next today, family anime action in and out of the water. Continuing our Studio Ghibli season, it's Princess Mononoke. At 7:20, Throwing the Bouquet with Force. Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway star in Bride Wars. At 9, a time capsule leaves Nicolas Cage with some shocking predictions. Our sci-fi season continues with Knowing. Then at 11:20, chilling goings on when a man returns from the brink of death with a new ability in White Noise 2. Now, human beings and animal gods wage war in a magical forest with scary monsters afoot. Glorious anime from Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli in Princess Mononoke. Well, tomorrow afternoon at 4:25, our Studio Ghibli offering is Tales from Earthsea as something strange gradually takes over the land. Next today, well, there's something else taking over. Bridezilla is here and she's got company. Anne Hathaway and Kate Hudson star in Bride Wars. At 6:35, a fallen star and a magical adventure on the quest for love. An all-star cast in Stardust. At 9, our sci-fi season continues with Jumper. Imagine you can teleport yourself anywhere instantly. Then imagine all the trouble that can create. At 11:15, this week's tie-in with the story of film is the darkly comic tale, The Death of Mr. Lazarescu. Now on Film4, rival wizards clash in a dark and threatening tale from a magical world as the animation expertise of Studio Ghibli brings to life the undubbed and subtitled version. Based on Ursula Le Guin's novel and directed by Goro Miyazaki, it's Tales from Earthsea. Tomorrow afternoon's offering is the Castle of Cagliostro at 4:45. The thrilling tale of a beautiful damsel in distress and some hidden treasure. Next this evening, well, the hidden treasure is the damsel in distress, the gloriously imaginative Stardust. Tomorrow afternoon at 20 to 3, John Wayne is an ageing Montana rancher who must hire some newbies for a cattle drive, the Cowboys. Back to today, and as part of our Studio Ghibli season, the search is on for hidden treasure in the Castle of Cagliostro. At 6:45, a charming comedy from Eddie Murphy as the businessman struggling with being a dad until something magical happens. Imagine that. At 9, our sci-fi season continues as Ripley is brought back from the dead to put a stop to evil aliens for good in Alien Resurrection. Then at 11:05, Bernardo Bertolucci's controversial and complicated love story, The Dreamers. Now on Film4 we present the first feature film written and directed by animation pioneer Hayao Miyazaki. Based on a long-running manga series from the 60s, uncovering a counterfeit money scam leads to encounters with dangerous ninjas and a princess in distress. Expect fast-paced fun in the Castle of Cagliostro as part of our Studio Ghibli season. Tomorrow at 5:10, our Ghibli film is the Iron Age tale of the little Norse prince, a magical sword and a mysterious princess. Well, next today, Eddie Murphy is juggling fatherhood and working life until something wonderful happens. Imagine that. Later from 7, an evil John Malkovich reigns. Can the owner of the last dragon egg triumph? Fantasy adventure Eragon. At 9, Sci-Fi Tonight is courtesy of Charlize Theron, the mysterious assassin in a strictly policed perfect world. Eon Flux. Then at 11:15, Sean Connery, Dustin Hoffman and Matthew Broderick star as Three Generations. Sidney Lumet directs Family Business. Now in Film4, Japanese animation from the earliest days of Studio Ghibli to continue our season. A young boy braves the elements and makes some unusual friends when he returns to his family village. From 1968, it's the Little Norse Prince. Tomorrow at 4:10, having turned down a handsome man for a life in the big city, one woman ponders what might have been. Our Studio Ghibli season continues with Only Yesterday. Back to this evening, and fantasy adventure is on the way. Could a dragon's egg be the key to battling an evil king? Eragon. At 6:30, an ice age threatens the world. Dennis Quaid is the dad intent on saving his son, Jake Gyllenhaal, in The Day After Tomorrow. At 9, how Wolverine became the lone fighter. Hugh Jackman stars in X-Men Origins. Then at 11:05, Keanu Reeves is the LAPD cop who finds himself in the frame for his partner's murder in Street Kings. Now in Film4, magical animation from Studio Ghibli to continue our season. A young woman takes a nostalgic look at her past as she decides what her future will hold. Only Yesterday. The Ghibli season continues tomorrow at 5:05 with Whispers of the Heart as a bookish girl and a violin-loving boy meet over some borrowed books. Next today, catastrophic climate change makes New York an ice age. Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal star The Day After Tomorrow. 7:20 this evening, and Ben Stiller is perfecting his pout for Zoolander. At 9, Sci-Fi courtesy of Nicolas Cage to continue our season as one man struggles to convince people he can predict catastrophes in Knowing. Then at 11:20, Paddy Considine stars in Shane Meadows' revenge thriller Dead Man's Shoes. A delightful animated tale of growing up as two teens are drawn together by their love of the same books. Our Studio Ghibli season gathers pace with a screenplay from the Oscar-winning Japanese director Hayao Miyazaki. It's Whispers of the Heart. Well, some of those cats are back tomorrow when a young girl rescues a feline in distress. The king of cats wants to express his gratitude. The Cat Returns is tomorrow at 5:10. Next this afternoon, Pout Perfected. Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson star in Zoolander.
An evening full of split infinitives ahead here on Film4 tonight as we boldly go 3 times, starting at 6:25 with Star Trek The Motion Picture. Then a deadly foe from the Enterprise's past returns hell bent on revenge in The Wrath of Khan at 9. And where is that Vulcan? The search for Spock begins at 11:10. Now on Film4, a teenage girl is reminded of a childhood gift when she risks her own life to save that of a mysterious stray cat. An action that leads to all kinds of adventures with some new feline friends. From Japan's Studio Ghibli, The Cat Returns. And there's more from the Studio Ghibli season tomorrow at 4:25 in a magical journey of witchcraft and wonderdom. Kiki's Delivery Service. Up next today, Star Trek The Motion Picture kicks off a triple bill of original crew intergalactic adventure. Coming out today at 6:35, kick-ass director Matthew Vaughn's wonderful grown-up fairy tale, Stardust. Then a brand new cast tell how the Enterprise crew boldly went for the first time in Star Trek at 9. And there's horror at 11:20 in The Hills Have Eyes. A magical journey of witchcraft and wonderdom now, as a young Japanese girl follows her true calling. Directed by Hayao Miyazaki, our Studio Ghibli season continues with Kiki's Delivery Service. And there's more from Studio Ghibli tomorrow at 4:25 as ruthless air pirates pose a threat in Laputa, Castle in the Sky. Next today, a star-studded fairy tale adventure for grown-ups. Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert De Niro and many, many more in Neil Gaiman's Stardust. Could Eddie Murphy's daughter's imaginary friends be better at his job than he is? Imagine that, coming up at 5 to 7. A murdered teenager watches over her family and her killer in Peter Jackson's The Lovely Bones at 9 o'clock. And at 11:35, Christian Bale and Colin Farrell share the love of Pocahontas in Terrence Malick's The New World. Now on Film 4, two youngsters must fight off air pirates in an adventure that travels to a remarkable eco-friendly alien environment. Another fantasy classic from Studio Ghibli, Laputa, Castle in the Sky, presented in the original Japanese with English subtitles. Humanity faces extinction as a new ice age sweeps the world in The Day After Tomorrow, coming up tonight at 20 to 7. There's rock and roll history in the making at 9 o'clock in the biopic of the young John Lennon, Nowhere Boy. And then at 10 to 11, the ultimate sci-fi horror grudge match in Alien vs. Predator. Now on Film 4, an And tomorrow's offering from Studio Ghibli is the film that paved the way for the formation of the world-famous animation house, Nausicaä of the Valley of the Winds. But next today, global warming plunges the world into a new ice age in a spectacular eco-epic, The Day After Tomorrow. Well, tomorrow at 12:35, it's amazing what you can find down a volcano as James Mason stars in Journey to the Centre of the Earth. But next this afternoon, the film that paved the way for the formation of the world-famous Studio Ghibli, Nausicaä of the Valley of the Winds. Well, coming up at 6:20 here on Film 4, the first big-screen adventure of the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek The Motion Picture. A year in the life of a French teacher at a tough, racially mixed Parisian school. Meet the class at 9. And then sci-fi's biggest grudge match hits small-town America in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem at 25 to 12. Now on Film 4, spellbinding post-apocalyptic animation, adapted from his own manga by Hayao Miyazaki, the creator of Spirited Away and Ponyo. A young princess finds herself on a journey of discovery in a film whose success led to the formation of Studio Ghibli, Nausicaä of the Valley of the Winds. Who says pigs can't fly? More from the Studio Ghibli season tomorrow at 5 to 5 with Porco Rosso. Up next today, Kirk and Co. boldly go to the big screen for Star Trek The Motion Picture. A deadly foe from the Starship Enterprise's past returns, hell bent on revenge in the Wrath of Khan at 10 to 7 today. Johnny Depp doesn't live and let pie as Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street at 9. And then director Nick Love takes a gritty look at the culture of violence on the football terraces in The Football Factory at 11:15. Magic from Oscar-winning director Miyazaki now here on Film 4. There's action, adventure and romance with a pig in a plane. A Studio Ghibli favourite from 1992, presented in Japanese with English subtitles. Porco Rosso. And there's more from our Studio Ghibli season tomorrow at 5:30 in a delicately told drama about the complications of young love, Ocean's Wave. Next today, a deadly foe from the Enterprise's past returns hell-bent on revenge in Star Trek II. Kenneth Moore's on the run after a mysterious murder in the 39 Steps as Christmas Eve at 3:25. But next today, more from our Studio Ghibli season in Ocean Waves. Coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, Kirk and Co will risk all for their fallen friend when they embark on Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Timothy Oliphant is the nameless hitman in a stylish and violent thriller at 9. And then Brad Pitt and Ed Norton pull no punches in Fight Club at 11. More from our season devoted to Japan's famous animation house, Studio Ghibli, and their first feature not to have been directed by either of the founders, Takahata or Miyazaki. Whilst returning home from Tokyo for a reunion in his hometown, a young man remembers his high school days in Ocean Waves. And the Studio Ghibli season continues on Christmas Eve at 5:15 with one of the best family films ever, My Neighbour Totoro. Well, next today, could it be that Spock's not quite as dead as he seemed? Kirk and Co risk all for their fallen friend in Star.
Tomorrow, our Christmas afternoon film at 3:20 is The Miracle on 34th Street, starring Maureen O'Hara and Natalie Wood. Next today, our Studio Ghibli season continues with the enchanting story of two young girls and a magical forest, My Neighbour Totoro. Christmas Eve here on Film 4. From 7, munch a mince pie with the thrilling Spiderwick Chronicles as one boy uncovers a fantastical world. At 9, Chris Pine stars as the young James T. Kirk, boldly beginning a life in Starfleet, Star Trek. Then at 11:20, Tom Hardy stars in the disturbing tale of one man whose violent tendencies saw him spend most of his life behind bars. It's Bronson. Continuing our Studio Ghibli season now on Film 4 with a beloved animation from director Hayao Miyazaki. Two children and a single dad move to the country and make surprisingly new friends in the enchanting My Neighbour Totoro. Well, tomorrow, Christmas Day at 5:10, the English language version of Ponyo concludes our Studio Ghibli season. It's the delightful tale of one fish princess who dreams of becoming a little girl. Next today, fantasy adventure right in your backyard as an ancient book harbours a whole world of trouble, the Spiderwick Chronicles. Here's how Christmas Day is shaping up on Film 4. At 7:15, we unwrap the Ealing comedy classic The Ladykillers with Sir Alec Guinness. At 9, a child is born. Not quite what Ellen Page and Michael Cera were expecting, though. The witty Oscar winner, Juno. Then at 10:11, an alternative 1985 where superheroes face being outlawed. It's Watchmen. Now in Film 4, a young boy makes friends with a fish who happens to be the daughter of a powerful sea goddess. Hoping to become human, fish and boy unleash an imbalance of nature. Our Studio Ghibli season concludes with the English language version of Hayao Miyazaki's Ponyo. Well, at 5:15 on Boxing Day, Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito are having problems with their festive spirits. Comedy deck the halls. Next today, classic comedy with Sir Alec Guinness and The Ladykillers.